This video is on a very serious and a very important issue, which is India's education system. In this video, I will be talking about what are the drawbacks, what are the problems which an Indian education system faces, and what really could be some of the possible solution for each and every problem. So all the discussion, all the solutions have been attached with each and every problem, whatever I have discussed in today's video. And secondly, just to give you a bit of background regarding today's video, first of all, I will be talking about the lower classes which are below 9th, then moving on to the higher classes, then finally to the university life, and eventually when an Indian student starts looking for a job in the industry, in the society itself. So this is the hierarchy, this is the system which I'm going to talk through in today's video. So without any further ado and without any time wastage, let's get started with today's video. So in the very first part, I will be talking about the classes which are below 9th. It is always said that these classes are the basic pillar, basic foundation for each and every child, and this is what really defines you in the future stages, what kind of human being you will be eventually, right? And the very big problem attached to this is that in these classes it is assumed that each and every child is same. He has got same level of creativity, he has got same level of intelligence, same level of IQ. But however, I don't consider this to be a case. Every child has got his own uniqueness and his own creativity, which is given by the naturally, it is kind of naturally imbibed in a kid. Now here I will be giving a historical reference towards the Pandavas' age. Now think about Dronacharya as a teacher. Dronacharya taught Arjun archery. He could have taught him some other skill, but he specifically focused on archery. This is how the teacher, the education system understood the student in that kind of period, in the early ages in the history. And that is what we have to implement just now in our education system. In this education system, we can take help of new technologies such as artificial intelligence or robotics to understand each and every kid. I don't expect a teacher to be understanding 30 different kids. I would say that implement a technology where each and every kid has got his own kind of artificial intelligence, kind of a tablet where he's having connection with the robot, and the feedback has been taken in the machine, and eventually each and every kid is being trained, and that is how it should be working, right? So number second problem in this early classes is rote learning. I'll give you my own personal example. It was my SST test, I think it was history specifically, where we had to learn about sati system and all this kind of prathas, right? Indian historical period. And that was all my test was regarding. In the evening when I was reading about this, I remember it used to be long big paragraphs in the history which your teacher used to give it, and you have to write in your notebook and you have to learn it, you have to write it and then write in the exam. I trained myself for 2 hours, 3 hours. I was reading it, but it wasn't going in my head. But eventually by night, I did all my rote learning and I went to the class and I scored full marks in that. My teacher was very happy, my parents were happy, but I know how much I trained myself. And secondly, it doesn't really help me. To be honest, now I know what sati system is, but that time, I was struggling. I would say that this kind of rote learning doesn't make any big difference at the end of your life. So I would say that this rote learning problem should be solved, and this is what I will be talking in the later stage, and a solution has been provided towards this as well. So number third problem is the co-curricular activities. The activities such as like the extra hobbies which we do, for example dancing, music or rapping, other kind of interest, these are not at all considered in lower classes. For example, dance competition, these are very common in schools. A teacher comes, there's like a proper following, a crowd of students is there, the teachers come there, he asks, okay, who is good at dancing? Can you let me know your names? So now consider there's a child who is very introvert. In a class of 30, let's say like 20 students feel shy, to come forward and speak. That's like their environment, there's a bit of barrier in them, right? So like not 20, maybe let's say 10, there's this kind of barrier. Even like a single kid is important in the school, So let's say that one kid is introvert and he won't never come up to the teacher and say, I want to do dance. But however, on that specific note, if a teacher would have said that, okay, let me know who all are interested in getting trained in dance. So this is something where a teacher can push the language which we talk about in the school. This is how a teacher can push a kid, the introvert kid, to become a part of that competition. And this is exactly how this problem should be tackled in the very lower classes. So these were the three very common, very major problems which a young student faces. So now moving on towards the second part of this video, which are the classes between 9th and 10th. These are the classes where I feel a student get a bit of sense regarding education. When the concepts like trigonometry and the mathematics come in, I feel this is the thing when the students start realizing, he has to put some inputs to have a better job eventually at last. And that is what really the teachers stress and the parents stress, right? Beta, study for this 4 years very nicely, your life will be set. And the student and the kid and the student, he starts reading that books from 9th class, same he does in 10th class, he gives his CBSE boards. And that's a big issue. When he has to switch from 10th class to 11th class, he has to have got like 4 different options. Like when he's got non-medical, he has got medical option, commerce, arts, and that is a very, very big issue which I want to address here. I would say in class 9th and 10th, the education system shouldn't be just marks focused. It shouldn't be just you're considering the marks of a kid and you're just allowing him to go to 11th. There has to be a proper skill matrix which involves different kind of project work, which involve different kinds of assignments and different kind of co-curricular activities. This skill matrix will help a kid to realize his own abilities. For example, a kid is really interested in a business, but however, in class 9th and 10th, there is a small little book of economics, and that's it. Just read that economics book. If you've got an interest, go for business. But that is not how it really works. Give him the specific projects, give him presentations to deliver where he can research on the internet what is the scope of this particular field and of this particular skill. That is how whereas students' interest could be developed. And when he is going from class 10th to 11th, instead of what his parents are pressurizing, what his teachers are pressurizing to choose, he can make his own decision and you can empower the student to make that decision. So I really feel that there should be a proper skill matrix towards this problem which is faced in class 9 to class 10th. So now moving on towards the third part of today's video, which are the classes between 11th and 12th. So in this classes, again the parents and the teachers again stress on the kid that study for 2 more years, then your life is settled. Okay, that's fine, and you all know what the actual truth is, what I mean. And here the biggest problem is that all the syllabus is theoretical. I know there are like 30 marks for practical in +2 class, but you know how the schools really work for that practical marks? They just give you the marks, that's the reality and that how it works. It wasn't in my school, but that is what I got the data from the internet, where the practical focus is not really done in classes 11th and 12th. And this is the issue which I was talking before. That was a rote learning, right, in lower classes, and the same rote learning goes in these classes as well. A kid, the parents or the teacher, they even the schools, they send them in a coaching classes. Just take a coaching class, go there for like 5-6 hours, study physics, like for non-medicals. I am a non-medical student. Study physics, chemistry, mathematics for 5-6 hours. Just struggle a lot, spend your midnights burning oil, and just get good marks, and the parents are happy, and you think like you will be happy in your life as well. But I will say this is one of the biggest problem. Just take a bit of historical reference. Think about the Maurya period, Chanakya Niti. This is one of the Arthashastra they call. This is one of the biggest achievement in economics, right? Which Chanakya Niti is like considered has got a massive impact. And this all Chanakya Niti has been taken from the practical experience. As far as I've read about Chanakya, I'm like very small in that case, I've read very little about him. But what I have observed, he was a very practical guy who was observing practicality in the society, and that is what he really wrote in Chanakya Niti, for example. So I would say that practical emphasis is very, very important. Now, a second problem which I really feel is in this category is that it is always held that +1 and +2 class syllabus is kind of equated to year 1 studies, year 1 syllabus in the abroad universities, and it is the reality. That is how advanced our +2 syllabus it is, right? But however, there is like no benefit until there is a practical approach towards that theoretical knowledge which is taught in the school. So I really consider that these two problems to be kind of major in this category, and this possible solutions should be taken in order to solve them. Take a practical approach towards solving this. So now moving towards the last part of today's video, which is once you have already finished your high school and once you are going to go in that big race, in that big hurdle of competition, right? And which is very much rightly shown in Three Idiots. It has been rightly depicted in that movie. And that is how it is, to go to a good university, good college, you need to be giving some kind of JE mains exams, and then for example NEET exams, and the syllabus for this exam is very high. I feel that the syllabus is kind of equivalent to year 2 or year 3 syllabus in some kind of like top universities and top colleges. As such is a syllabus, and for this syllabus they have to take additional 1 year of coaching, and which I don't really feel is a good thing. The syllabus should be equated to the things which they're taught in +1 and +2. Increase the bar for that syllabus. But there's like no practical approach, but still, like if you're taking these exams, like make sure the syllabus is kind of equated to +1 and +2. And the other thing is, this is a very big question mark. For example me, I scored in my CBSE 94%, but still, in the India, if I was looking for a college, I would be still struggling. I don't know what the CBSE marks mean for. For example, a student is getting 95%, give him the appropriate amount of scholarship or the benefit that he can go for a specific college. But no, it's a big competition, it's a big race that the education doesn't fund. The education of an individual student can't be funded there. That's a really big problem. You should be Indian education system, the people who are kind of making the policies. For example, a student is scoring this percentage of marks, he should be given appropriate amount of scholarship so that he can decide his future accordingly. For example, if you've got aspiration to go in a medical college, the medical college fees are humongous. They're like more than 50 lakh rupees, 70 lakh rupees. It's like humongous amount in the private colleges and the private universities. And at least if a student is scoring like 95, 96%, at least give them some scholarship so that they can fund their studies to study in such good universities. But no, there's like no scholarship at all. You just sit in these exams and just go for the government colleges and government universities, and that's the only option, and that's a very frustrating option left with the kids and the students left over. Now let's say once you have passed this exam successfully, then you've moved to this university, you have cleared the university, you've got very nice marks. Now is the time for the placement. Now for the placements, I've seen my friends in India, talk to them. They told me, like they got graduated from a university, it was a nice university. The jobs, they get salary for 10,000 rupees, 15,000 rupees. He was civil engineer. The starting salary for him was only 15,000 rupees. What do you expect from all these hurdles, from all this frustration, all this stress, all this hard work which he put in the education, right from smaller classes to his 9th, 10th, and then 11th, 12th, and still he's getting 15,000. Is that the opportunities which the Indian education system really provides? And that I feel is really frustrating and a drainage. So at last I want to talk about purpose of education in India. It is said that if you're becoming a rich person, you're getting a good job, that is a successful education. But I don't agree with this statement at all. I feel that you have to taught our children some kind of entrepreneurial skills as well in their schools, in their high schools, so that they create jobs, they create job markets. For example, they're good in some creative thing. Make sure that they're becoming a creative person rather than making a rich person or giving them a job. That's not an education which I really expect, and I really feel strong about it. So thanks for watching the video, and I really hope that if you've got some problems with the Indian education system, make sure to comment down below this video so that I can also get some information from it. And if I've got some solutions towards that problem, make sure to attach them so that I can discuss in my further videos, and I could educate more people towards this topic as well, and I could educate myself on this particular thing. Thanks for watching, and please enjoy your day ahead.